for Peace and the Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum. We welcome you all to the second day of the symposium on youth engagement with religion and faith in the 21st century that is being organized in collaboration with Statistical, Economic and Social Research and Training Center for Islamic Countries, the International Islamic Figh Academy, the Research Center for Islamic History, Art and Culture, Berkeley Center for Religion, Peace and World Affairs, Georgetown University, Institute of Human Rights and Peace Studies, Mahidol University, Office of Religious Life, Princeton University, and the Pontifical and Royal University of Santo Tomas. My name is Fatma Nur Shenjan, Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, one of the Master of Ceremonies, along with Christian Lupemba. Mr. Christian.
Thank you, dear Fatma. My name is Christian Lupemba. I serve as the chairperson of the Democratic Republic of the Congo Youth Network. I welcome to all for this second day of our symposium on youth engagement with religion and faith, which has been made possible thanks to the dedication of Professor Dr. Atta Karam, Secretary General of Religions for Peace, and His Excellency Mr. Taha Ayhan, President of the Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, to the concerns of young people. Before we start, as we normally do at Religions for Peace, allow me to invite you to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Now, I call upon Mr. Jimmy Obuya, Project Coordinator, Regions for Peace, to share with us a brief synopsis of what took place yesterday. Mr. Jimmy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christian, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all. Thank you so much for finding time to join us in day two. I'm quickly going to share some very quick remarks to recap what happened yesterday. It was a very exciting and highly packed day, but we miraculously managed to navigate it with a lot of productivity, joy and appreciation and satisfaction towards the end. I'd like to remind you also that all the proceedings from yesterday are available online and on YouTube, and our team will be sharing the links so that anytime or any moment you want to go back and recapture the moments, review and remember, you can always find them online. So this is just a very, very quick points on what happened yesterday, just to refresh our thinking and also to bring us into that mood of receiving, of absorbing, and also reflecting with one another. So yesterday we started with very encouraging welcome remarks from the Secretary General of Religions for Peace and the President of the Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, who reiterated the need for continued multi-religious collaboration, especially with the theme of involving youth and emphasis of having young people, share their voices, take up the spaces, and be part of the conversation around religion and faith in the 21st century. There were very encouraging contributions and reflections from these very esteemed and honorable leaders in this space and this platform. And many young people, I'm sure, appreciated those inspirational remarks, which I believe you can always find bits of them online. After that, we had keynote remarks from Professor Dr. Priyankar Upadhyaya and Dr. Catherine Marshall, who also set the tone for the day with emphasis, especially on inclusion of young people, their agency and voices within the expanding spaces of interfaith dialogue and collaboration and action. I remember one of the participants from Nigeria reminded us that interfaith dialogue nowadays is not only about what happens on Zoom meetings or through technology. Even at the grassroots and community level, that's where also it should happen. And it starts with very simple things like just having friends and relationships of trust. So those keynote remarks really helped us shape the focus, and they helped us because we had a total After that, we had a total of 4 experienced and very renowned academics, thought leaders, and resource persons who helped us moderate the contribution sessions. These moderators also, in their own way and right, helped us navigate through the very tight timelines with very creative and innovative ways. I think the young people and the many presenters also proved themselves well in terms of managing time, and we really appreciate that, and we hope that one will continue today. After we had a total of 5 presentations on the peace building theme, 5 presentations on environment, and another 5 on humanitarianism. They were rich both in content, diversity, and even relevance, considering the short time given to the contributors to prepare. But everyone proved capable, and the team that has been reviewing the abstracts and the full papers will really tell you that the treasure trove that we have harvested and that we have from these contributions is quite diverse, rich, and really represents the very good resources and richness that young people have throughout the world. We also had very welcome creative pieces in the form of a musical piece from ICYF and a short video from Religions for Peace youth media team, which brought really a welcome relief and reflective moments in the day, just away from the monotony of the presentations or the reminders of deadlines and everything else. It was very good to also just get those creative pieces and also to be able to do that via Zoom. So it was good to experience that. We got a chance to engage via the chat box and the question and answer sessions, which allowed for more interrogations and responses. I think I could count, at any one given time, we had between 94 to 120 participants, and everybody was typing and chatting and engaging, and our teams were also picking them up. I could see some of the comments from the meeting to Twitter, and I really want to recognize Professor Aza, and I think Dr. Luciano, they're very active on Twitter, which is very good, because also the conversation is also, we need to occupy those spaces, and I encourage also today that we see to what extent we can influence conversations there. Finally, the very able pair of our Masters of Ceremony, of Ms. Fatma Nur Shankan and Mr. Christian Mpemba, invited Ms. Marilyn Chitarai to give her excellent closing remarks, which brought a very rigorous day, a good end to a very rigorous day. So we really appreciate all the participation and also the engagement and the feedback that was there throughout yesterday, and we hope to also enjoy all that today. So welcome everyone, and back to you, Mr. Christian. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, dear Jimmy, for reminding us what happened yesterday. Now it's time for us to have some keynotes remarks. So it will be my pleasure to invite Professor Koutoub Mustafa Sano, who is Secretary General of Figh Academy, to share with us his keynote remarks in 7 minutes. Professor Moustapha, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Beloved brothers and sisters, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for some of you might be staying far away from us there. Let us take it as an opportunity to thank you very much for inviting me, and thanking especially Prof. Azza for this wonderful addition to our beloved brother Taha, and all the team that have been working hardly to have a very timely and a very important seminar, or you may want to call it a forum. I would like you just to go straight to the point. Today, I think you have chosen the right topic where we're going to talk. We are talking about the engagement of the youth with religion and faith in the 21st century. I did say earlier that faith is a part of our being. Faith is something we like, we may not, we may like it, we not like it. We cannot live without it. Even people who are thinking that they are faithless, if you may want me to call it that way, they don't believe in any faith. I think to believe in a faith, that faith is called, we don't believe in any faith. That itself, it is a faith. So therefore, you will not be able to do it away from the faith. But what we want you to do with the right faith. the faith which is based on accepting the differences, the faith is based on respecting the religions, the faith which is based on living together with others, the faith which is based on rejecting and objecting all type and kinds of violence and discriminations and exclusion. That faith which is needed today, we are calling upon our youth. We have been blessed with the social media, we have been blessed with Instagram, Facebook, so whatever you do, wanted YouTube, and then today you can get access to all the faith, to all the items, to all issues related to the faith. What we want you to make use of that one, that opportunity, to use it for the right manner, for the right purpose, for the right objectives, for the right issues, the right practices. Your engagement today with the faith will be nothing else which is maybe needed more than being faithful in your destiny, faithful in humanity, to be faithful in acceptance, in your human brotherhood, faithful in living together. Our main problem we are faced with, the first enemy to all of us, is that people who are not willing, who do not want to engage with the faith, who do not want to accept the faith, who do not want to accept the differences, who want to really see the world from one single angle, from one single way, from one single method. Our engagement in the faith will dictate on us that to be humble, to be kind, to be respectful, to be appreciative, to be respectful to our culture, to the traditions, to our differences, to be in the same way, at the same level, in rejecting all form of violence or exclusion in our society. Brothers and sisters in faith, in all religions, I would like to call upon you all to believe that our existence depends on our engagement in the faith, with the faith. More we are engaged in the faith, we are looking for more peaceful, more harmonious, and more respectful, and more progressive will be in this life. Less we are engaged in with the faith, less we are respectful to the religion, more trouble will be living around, and what will be given the life could turn into a difficult space, a difficult environment that we do not expect it at all. So what I would say in a very few words, as a youth, you are accountable and you are responsible. The world will look at you, at your behavior, at the way your actions and your reactions at the same time, how to be acceptive and how to be respectful and how to be faithful. We do not want you to insult yourself in making comparison between the faith and religions and making the preferences. Every human being is free to choose his or her religion, his or her faith. We do not want you to force anybody to follow you. We do not want you to force anybody, and nobody should be forcing you to follow them. You have this capacity to choose. You have the capacity to analyze. You have the capacity to accept or to reject. We would like you to do it objectively. We'd like to do it humanly. We would like you to do it respectfully. And we would like you to do it in the sense to say, you are not alone in this world. And then you would like to do it with the solidarity for others. The faith and religions will have to come together. They will have to stand by against all kind of violence, against all kind of rejection, against all kind of exclusion, against all kind of extremism or fanatism, or you may call it today the terrorism. We do believe that the solution to the problems the world is faced today, we have to go back to the faith. If you see the greedy people, you see the selfish, you see the people who are rejecting, the violent, the extremists or the terrorists, they are all coming up because of the absence of the real faith, the faith. They have rejected the faith, they have put the faith behind them, then they will be acting without the guidance from the faith, and they are getting all kinds of troubles that we are living in today. In order to make the world the peaceful environment, to live in peace, to grow in peace, to get in peace, to accept these things, say we do not have any other reason but to accept the faith and engage in the religions. The religions mainly have guidance to you, have the lines, and have some kind of like instruction to be helpful to get you on how to go about whatever you do. So we've been blessed when you are faithful, because you don't get astray, you don't get away. Refer to your faith, refer to your religion, you will find the guidance, what the religion will tell you. I do not believe there is a religion in the world which will be calling upon the people to kill each other, which will be calling upon the people to take the people's life, which will be calling the people to destroy the thing, which will be calling the people to bomb others and others, will be calling the people to enslave others. This is not religions. That are human beings made. They couldn't do it in the name of religions. People might be doing so many wrong things in the name of Islam, in the name of Christianity, in the name of the Judaism, in Hinduism, in the Buddhism. They will be doing all of this kind of nonsense, and then they will put it in the name of religions. Unfortunately, the religion do not have mouth to talk except you and I. Both of you, we have to stand by and tell. It's not, if you want to kill anybody as a criminal, you shouldn't do it in the name of Judaism. You shouldn't do it in the name of Christianity. You shouldn't do it in the name of Islam. You shouldn't even do it in the name of Hinduism or Buddhism, because it is on your own need. You are a criminal. Then you want to take the people's life or want to destroy, and then you will be doing it. Because if you go back to these religions, you will find them, they are very free from all these things. They call for peace, they call for acceptance, they call for love, they call for kindness, they call for mercy, they call for all of these things, all of these principles. But you could get at any time, in anywhere, some other people might be hijacking these religions, hijacking this faith and putting it and doing all kinds of wrong things in their name. The time has come to you, brothers and sisters, my beloved young people. I am young like you. I am among you. I am with you. And I do believe that today, nobody will be there to betray you, or nobody will be there to cheat you by giving you some wrong information about religion, or doing some wrong actions in the name of religion. You will have to be firm in your convictions, in your belief, that things are done in the name of religion, not the religion itself, or not the faith itself have been calling you. Your engagement will need it from you, require you to get to know more about the religion. More you get to know about the religion, more peaceful you will be, more acceptable you will be, more respectful you will be. Less you get to know the religion, you will be always in confusion, and people could easily throw you and bring you in the wrong side of the history. So we do not want you to be this one. Your engagement today as a youth will have to be, we want you to be, not to be just to be blindly following the others, blindly accepting the arguments here and there. You have access to the internet, you have access to all the sources for the knowledge. Earlier, people could be traveling from here to go to the States, to go to the UK, looking for some informations. Today, in 1 or 2 seconds, or maybe 2 or 3 minutes or 5, you have all these information in your hands. So why do not make use of them and try to be there, to be well equipped with a proper knowledge, proper understanding, proper informations about this. Do not be somebody who could be fooled easily, and then people could cheat you and betray religions. You are having so many people around us in the world who may not want to see you accept you living together, who may not want to accept that religions must live together. Religions must live together. Religions and the followers of religions, the prophets were brothers. The prophets were very, very friends. There is no such of the war people have been creating. If the friend of my friend is my friend, therefore, whoever will be declaring a war against anybody, I think I could say the Jesus is a friend of Moise. The Moise is a friend of the Messi. The Messi is a friend of a prophet.
Recording in progress.
So that one, you cannot be going for these things there. The friend of my friend is my friend. So the follower of those religions, the follower of those beliefs, they should be friends. They should be brothers. They should live together. I would like to record here my appreciation to His Highness, the Pope, Francis, and His Eminence, the Sheikh Ahmad al-Tayyib, the Sheikh of Al-Azhar. When they signed few years back, this is the human brotherhood. And that was a moment that humanity will have to come together. The time is your time. My friend, my dear friend, brothers and sisters, fellow youth, that the time has come that we shouldn't be fooled, you shouldn't be cheated, you shouldn't be betrayed by those people who have been promoting the violence, clashes, hatred, rejections, and exclusion among the religions. While the religions are friends, should live together, should accept together, should live up together, should stand by against all kind of this form of discrimination. I would just like to to end my speech by thanking you and congratulating you again to have such kind of a forum, which will be enlightening. We should be giving more informations. We should be helping you, helping me to grow up and stand by against all of misinterpretations of religions, all misinformations that have been given about religions. Have in mind, no single religion, no single faith would recommend anybody, would ask anybody to kill his human being, to kill his fellow human being, to destroy his fellow human beings, the goods, to fellow human beings' life, to do this on no religion. If you do it in the name of religion, is your religion, not that religion in reality. In fact, the religion will stand for love, for mercy, for kindness, for acceptance, for living together. Let us live together as followers of religions, as beloveds of prophets of the Almighty, as people who this religion have been chosen to be our guide, to be our reference whenever we need to get a reference. I thank you very much, and I wish you all the best, and may your forum be a success and be a way to help you young people, to grow and to stand, to be. I trust and I believe in your understanding, in your brain, in your capacity to get access to all the informations about religions, about the faith. Thank you. Wabillahi tawfiq.
Thank you very much, Professor Sano.
And also, they will give you anti-Korean as well. It is better.
Thank you, Professor Sano, for this insightful speech. Now it's my honor to invite Dr. Pritpal Kaur Aluwalia, who is Education Director for Sikh Coalition and Co-President of Religions for Peace, to share with us keynote remarks in 7 minutes. Dr. Pritpal, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts today. The first thing I thought of when I saw the title of the symposium was about a teaching from Sikhism, or the Sikh Dharam. We had 10 gurus, or spiritual leaders, who all became gurus at different ages. One became a guru when they were just 5 years old, another when they were 14. And then on the other end of the scale, one became a guru in their 70s. The lesson we draw from this is that wisdom is not bound by age. We do not believe in the saying that older is wiser. We believe that wisdom comes with God's grace, and that can strike at any time in someone's life. Today, I would like to recount a journey with you that I took in 2009. This journey started off in London in the UK. It then took me to Tanzania and Zanzibar. And then from there, it took me to Chicago in the US. And I ended up back in the UK in Birmingham. And this journey took around a year, and it was one of the most transformational years of my life. It was for an interfaith program called the Faith Fellowship. It took 10 youths from Canada, 10 from the US, and 10 from the UK, all from various faith traditions and from various walks of life. And our goal was to engage in multi-faith action towards the then Millennium Development Goals. And our focus was on raising awareness and funds in the fight against malaria. So what did we do on our journey? In London, we learned about each other and our various faith traditions. We lived together, we ate together, we sang together, and we talked together into the early hours of every night. We were then split into various groups to visit countries that had been engaged in the battle against malaria. And this is what took me to Tanzania and Zanzibar. We not only learned about malaria, but learned how faith communities had started to combat it. With their reach into local communities, the infrastructure of the faith communities to educate about malaria and distribute bed nets was crucial and life-saving. Learning these powerful lessons from faith communities firsthand, we were then sent to Chicago, where an organization called the Interfaith Youth Corps trained us in how to leverage interfaith service projects for action and dialogue. We were then paired with someone in the group who was of a different religious tradition to us, and we spent 9 months with them, working in a host organization that would give us access to interfaith networks in the UK, USA, and Canada, in order to be able to raise awareness, support, and funds that would enable us to mobilize the fight against malaria in our home countries. And this is what brought me back to the Nishgam Centre in Birmingham, UK, the civic arm of a vibrant Gurdwara community. I was paired with Sean Rose, who was a Catholic, and we spent 9 months presenting, fundraising, educating, and visiting local faith communities around Birmingham to build a hub of volunteers who would continue the work even once our fellowship had ended. So what did this program achieve? It educated us and others about global issues and gave us a tangible, practical way at working towards addressing them. It gave us religious literacy about other faith communities and an opportunity to ask meaningful questions from each other as practitioners for deeper understanding. It demonstrated how much could be achieved through multi-faith action and how that could be harnessed for the common good. It gave us passion and compassion towards addressing global issues, and many of us have ended up working and continuing working in these fields. And we now have a wonderful professional network that has been built between us as well. And when we think about what makes efforts sustainable, for us, we became a group of 30 people who were willing to keep working on these issues to the best of our capacity, and in turn try to inspire others to do the same. And I hope that what I've shared with you will serve as a useful model of successful youth multi-faith engagement in your discussions. But for me, that is not what the biggest achievement was. Beyond everything I've just shared with you, the thing that made this most successful, transformational, memorable, and life-changing for me were the personal relationships. The challenges remain, they will always remain. The Millennium Development Goals, now the Sustainable Development Goals, are still being addressed and new challenges will come. But we are a group of 30 people that are so strongly connected, and we have remained not only friends, but we have become each other's family for the last 13 years. We have celebrated milestones together, we have comforted each other through losses, and we have supported each other in hardships. When I simplify things and I look beyond theory, for me, that's a microcosm of what multi-faith communities embody. And it's that love and compassion towards one another that I hope to see play out in the world and be multiplied and replicated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pritpal, for this wise and engaging speech. Now it's a honor for me to call Dr. Mustafa Ceric, Raisul Ulama Emeritus of the Islamic Community in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Honorary President of Religions for Peace, to share with us his keynote remarks in 7 minutes. Dr. Ceric, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. I greet you all with salam and shalom and good morning and good evening. And especially I would like to greet our Secretary General Azza Karam. I saw behind you Hirratan, and we know that the best of the Prophet's companions were loving cats. And this is why he was called Abu Hurairah. I don't want to call you except Azza Karam, but I am very glad that you like cats. Those who like animals like humans as well. And I would also like to thank to our very hard-working Mrs. Deepka Singh, who is connecting us and giving us the opportunity to be informed all the time. I'm speaking you from Sarajevo, and just inform you that Sarajevo is at peace. And as long as Sarajevo is at peace, Europe is at peace, and the world is at peace. So just I would like you to know. And one of those who contributed to peace in Bosnia after the war was Religions for Peace. I am very glad that I see my old and lifelong friend, Catherine Marshall, and all other faces that I see you here. Religions for Peace has more now the purpose than probably ever before, and especially regarding the youth. So when we speak about youth and faith, we are speaking about two most important things in humanity. The faith, which is the substance, or if you like to use the Aristotelian logic, it is a matter, or philosophy, it is the matter and form. So the faith is a natural matter or substance from which comes the form religion. So this substance that is born with us, faith, is just a matter until it becomes a form, because only when the matter becomes the form, we have something touchable and we can see it. Now, the question is, who is shaping this matter to become a kind of form, which is a religion? So when we speak about the youth, we speak about adults, because the adults are shaping the mentality of the youth and the faith of the youth. Of course, you are aware that God is guiding us, first of all. But God also has given us the wisdom or the capacity to the parents to shape their children. So we are all born in a natural substance, but our parents, the schools, the streets, the games at the Google and Facebook and everything is shaping our soul. So both faith and youth are important. Faith is important in regard to our state of the mind, of the spirit, of the heart, and of the soul. So everyone has a faith. There are people who claim to have, who are faithless with faith, or faith of the faithless. So there is nobody that doesn't have a faith, trust. And the importance of the youth is basically the future of humankind, because the youth is something that will inherit us eventually, ultimately, and will replace us. The only problem that we are leaving this planet to youth in a very bad situation, a very bad shape, a very bad situation. Now, if we want to focus, and I think that would be program of youth and faith, I think, within the religious peace, for peace, is that we should take care of the psychological well-being of the youth. The youth today, or I may say, the most difficult time to be a teenager is this time. In my time, when I was young, water was free for drinking and free and very clean, and music was for money. My mother didn't have money to give me, and so I didn't listen to music. But today, water is for money and the music is free. So as a teenager, how you spend your time and who is going to organize your time is very difficult. I have my grandchildren who come to my house. The only thing that they ask me is my iPhone to play the games. They don't want to talk to me, neither about faith or anything. Or tell me how they are spending their time and day and friends and so on and so on. So that's the psychological being very important. The second thing is the identity formation. How the youth are forming their identity depends on their family environment, their school environment, and their society environment. The third very important thing is reconciliation in families. How the unit of family with the youth, role of the youth is being conducted. The fourth, the most important thing nowadays is how to teach the youth not to be violent, or less violence. Now, this is the most important subject of today, but it was always that youth are rebellious. They want to take their place from the adults, despite the adults. So they like to rebel. Now, this rebellion can go wrong way if we don't take care of the psychological state, psychological situation. And the faith, I can assure you that there is no better healer than the faith. In my experience, the pain killer of the wound on the soul is only the faith, nothing else. So the young people have to learn this kind of healing in their early age. And of course, what I think that we should take care of our youth as we are trying to introduce them faith is to make their faith in action. The youth don't like too much preaching, too much philosophy, too much history of theology, too much of the faith like to be engaged in an action of humanitarian. They want to feel that they are useful and that they are doing something good in the name of faith. But they can read all the books a lot, but they want to see and to feel that they do something good, that God is pleased with them. And finally, I would like to raise very important thing. If faith is the trust in God, and this is the most thing that we all like to have, trust in God, then the most important thing for the health of the youth is their trust in God that will be translated in trust in adults. The youth today, as I observe from afar, don't trust anybody. And the information that they are receiving, very contradictory information, they are very often very confused. And the only force that then can make them straightforward is basically the faith. So I congratulate to the Religions for Peace. And this is why when you ask me what I would like to do, I said I would like to participate and to share with you my wisdom. It is small wisdom, but don't forget, small wisdom is very useful. You know, don't neglect small fire. I am repeating all the time. Small fire, small disease, and small enemy. The virus, corona, is a small enemy, invisible, but don't neglect it. So this is my small wisdom from Sarajevo. Wishing you all the best. Please keep me in your faith, and especially to our secretary, I pray for her to give her a good health. And just inform you, I am tomorrow going with my wife to Cairo. And I know that you would like to be at the shore of the Nile, but stay now in New York for a while. And see you, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ceric, for this wise yet practical speech. Now we have to move to our first panel. So it will be a pleasure for me to yield the floor to Mr. Yunus Colak from Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum to guide us during this panel. Mr. Yunus, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. It is very good to be here, first of all. And after those great keynote speeches, I shall start the second peace building panel of the program. So distinguished guests, dear friends, and dear youths who are joining us from all over the world, greetings to all of you from Istanbul, from Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum's headquarters. So my name is Yunus Colak, and I am Way Club Project Coordinator in ICYF. And it is a great honor and pleasure to greet and welcome you here in the second day of the Youth Engagement with Religion and Faith in the 21st Century program. On behalf of ICYF and Religions for Peace, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being here with us today. So, as I mentioned, this is the second panel for peace building issue of this program, and we have 5 distinguished guests from different countries and the different area of interest. Since we have limited time and lots of things to discuss, to be honest, I would like to start this session without talking too much. But let me remind you that each of our panelists will have 5 minutes. Also, at the end of this session, I will open the floor for questions from our distinct audience. So, our first panelist will be Dr. Lilian Sison, Director of the Office of International Relations and Programs, Pontifical and Royal University of Santo Tomas, Philippines, and Chair, Asia Pacific Women of Faith Network. Her topic is the charism of a Catholic university in its efforts to deepen the faith of the youth through its service function. So the floor is yours, Doctor. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. And I also would like to thank the organizers, especially Religions for Peace, for inviting the Royal and Pontifical University of Santo Tomas to be one of the organizers of this forum. So in this presentation, I will share with you the charism of the University of Santo Tomas and how it forms or deepens the faith of the youth through its service function. The University of Santo Tomas in Manila, a pontifical university and declared by canon law as the Catholic University of the Philippines. It is owned by the Congregation of the Orders of Preachers, more commonly known as Dominican Fathers. UST is governed by the Apostolic Constitution for Catholic Universities, known as the Ex Corde Ecclesiae, meaning born from the heart of the Church. Faithful to the Constitution and steeped in its Catholic heritage and values, the university is guided by a Christian perspective in expressing its teaching, research, and service functions. At the university, we strive to constantly engage the students in the 4 dialogues of a Catholic university. The dialogue between faith and reason, which is a philosophy of Thomas Aquinas, the dialogue between faith and culture, the dialogue between Christian thought and modern science, and ecumenical and interreligious dialogue. As part of its mission of service, the university is called on to become an even more effective instrument of cultural progress for individuals as well as society, and to examine, evaluate, and communicate the predominant values and norms of modern society from a Christian perspective, which give full meaning to human life and respect for human dignity. It also dedicates itself in the promotion of social justice, shared by its teachers and academic staff, and developed in its students. Furthermore, it is engaged in the development of an understanding between cultures and the defense of nature in accord with an awareness of the international ecological situation and the Dominican promotion of justice, peace, and the care for the integrity of creation. Given all this, UST as a Catholic university has threefold functions: teaching and learning, research and innovation, and community service. So at the university, the youth are continuously formed in their faith life through their theology courses, the campus ministry, community celebration of the liturgy and other Christian traditions, and through purposeful and deliberate humanitarian action in their community service under the aegis of the university's Simbahayan Development Program. Simbahayan literally stands for simbahan, or the church, tahanan, or home, and bayan, or country. So through the community development projects of the various colleges, faculties, and student organizations, Simbahayan envisions partner communities and at-risk sectors to be self-reliant, interdependent, and empowered, contributing to peace building in the church, the home, and the nation. There are currently 4 ongoing cluster programs wherein students can participate in humanitarian and civic action. One is on the environment, a university-wide community development advocacy for the environment and for disaster risk reduction management. It is inspired by the Church's social teachings on the care for God's creation and Pope Francis' encyclical Laudato Si, or the care for our common home. This is led by the students of science, engineering, and architecture. The second is on social issues. The development project promotes education and social awareness by edifying the youth and partner communities on the pressing social issues of the country, such as malnutrition, illiteracy, and how this can be properly addressed. This cluster is led by the education, humanities, and social science students. And the third is on sustainable livelihood, which promotes and patronizes local and indigenous products made and developed by the communities. The business, accountancy, and hospitality management students lead this cluster. And finally, the fourth is on health and wellness program. This cluster is cared for by the health sciences students led by the Faculty of Medicine, the Institute of Physical Education, and the Institute of Religion by advocating for health and wellness through physical, mental, spiritual activities, promoting holistic health. Through the Simbahayan Development Program, the university commits itself to the sustained Christian formation of the students and the youth and university partner communities and institutions in becoming agents for peace building and of social transformation. This is essential for the integral formation of our students with the hope of forming leaders who are not only competent in their chosen discipline, but also will possess the qualities of compassion, empathy, and love, especially for the poor, the displaced, and those in the margins of society. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, dear Miss Dr. Lilian. That was a very inspiring speech. And I believe that we have learned a lot of things from your presentation about the Santo Tomas. And again, thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you very much too.
Now, I would like to introduce our second panelist, and I would like to give the floor to Miss Emina Frljak. I hope my pronunciation is correct. And she's Educational Programs Coordinator, Youth for Peace, and International Youth Committee member in Religious for Peace. Her topic will be Religion and Peace Building, a Youth Perspective and Vision. So floor is yours. Miss Emina, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, and I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Greetings from Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is my pleasure and honor to be here with you. In my 5 minutes, I will be delivering a short reflection on religion and peace building from youth perspective, while showcasing some examples of the RFP youth. The connection of religion, peace, and conflict is rather a complex one, not a binary one. Religion is neither inherently good nor bad for peace, and the influence of religion on both is undeniable. Religion can be used as a powerful driver of violent conflict, and history and past showed us this. However, religious ideas, actors, and institutions also serve as incredible resource and motivation for peace building, inspiring people to courageous and transformative acts of peace. And we have seen this in numerous cases like South Africa, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Sudan, Nigeria, Indonesia, and many other places. The field of religious peace building still lacks engagement of two important actors, women and youth. So today, as a member of the RFP IYC, the largest multi-faith platform, I would like to offer a youth vision of religion and peace building. In the theory of religion and peace building, we can build peace in 3 ways. Peace through religion, which would mean that we are grounding ourselves only in our religion, which is not bad per se, but we are risking excluding other religions and even developing intolerance towards them. In case we want to build peace without religion, we are leaving out a great potential for peace, which lies in the religious actors. In an approach called Peace with Religion, we focus on living together and interfaith dialogue. This is the approach that requires collaboration across the religious lines and brings to the table religious leaders, women, youth, minority and majority communities, and puts them in a position of partners. This approach brings together people because people are those who are dialoguing, not the religions, to seek solutions and seek ways how to live together despite the conflict, despite the differences and the burdens of the past that we as humanity carry as a heavy baggage. And most importantly, this approach leaves no one behind because it is rights-based approach. There are no better and major religions. There are only different religions that have both similarities and differences. And in this approach, we rely on our similarities and use them as drivers, but we also talk about differences. We listen, we understand, and we accept their existence. In this approach, we acknowledge that our neighbors have the same rights as we have. We acknowledge that every one of us have the right to have religious sites, have the right to congregate, and the right to express belief in public without fear or being discriminated against or persecuted. With this approach comes also the humility and the idea that in the dialogue, we need to enter as partners. And this is how we build peace. This is how we harness the power and potential of religious peace building. Here, peace is understood not as a pure absence of direct violence. Peace is not a destination, it's a process, and work on peace building never stops. In the words of Johann Galtung, by peace we mean the capacity to transform conflicts with empathy, without violence, and creatively, a never-ending process. And why are youth important here? Young people are those who will continue this never-ending process, and those who will support the new generation who will come after them. Young people are not a tabula rasa that needs to be just filled with previous experiences and existing knowledge. Young people are independent thinkers who need support to grow and develop. Young people can bring new, fresh, and creative ideas that need to be heard, harnessed, and taken seriously. Yes, we need empowerment, but once empowered, young people are equal and worthy partners, and we have proven that. As IYC, a committee consisting of 12 youth from various professional, national, and religious backgrounds, committee of young leaders in our respective communities, we have issued a call for global ceasefire, echoing the words of His Excellency Antonio Guterres amid the COVID-19 pandemics. In our respective regions and national chapters, we have helped or led our own initiatives aimed at helping people to cope with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemics. European Interfaith Youth Network of Religions for Peace is at the forefront of countering hate speech by designing and implementing a campaign aimed at European region through interfaith approach and rooting alternative narrative to hate in positive speech found in various religious traditions and texts. And besides that, EIYN uses the intergenerational and multi-stakeholder approach by bringing together religious leaders, civil society actors, women, and youth to convey messages of hope, understanding, and love instead of divisions, hate, and violence. As someone who since 2017 have coordinated and led numerous interreligious peace tours through Sarajevo for young people, but also not so young people, from Bosnia and Herzegovina, Italy, Poland, USA, Germany, Serbia, and many other corners of the world, I would like to convey a small message for the end. Without interfaith, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be able to understand my religion the way I understand it now. I wouldn't be able to embrace my female Muslim identity the way I embrace it now. I wouldn't be eager to speak about my religion so openly and feel belonging to the world, to the humanity, and the planet as I feel now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Miss Emina. I would like to express my humble appreciation for your wonderful speech and for your wonderful presentation, actually. And I personally totally agree that peace building is a never-ending process. But maybe we can discuss this idea with our audience in the Q&A session. I will be look forward to get some questions about this issue, I believe. So thank you again for your contribution. So I would like to give the floor to Miss Anum Hira from Pakistan. And the topic will be the freedom of peace speech, a case study combating Islamophobia. So floor is yours, Miss Anum, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, this is Hira Anam from Pakistan, and Assalamu alaikum, good evening and greetings. Now I'm going to present my presentation on my research paper, which is, he just told about it. Let me share the screen so it will be easy for everyone to see it. Okay, it's freedom of speech, a case study combating Islamophobia. And my paper consists of the introduction, and it further consists of freedom of speech, world peace and religions, countering hate speech for peace, and then Islamophobia. We all know that every human has the right to express himself, to publish and broadcast whatever he wants. So this is all consists of, defining the context and conceptualizing it further tunnel away to the Islamophobia topic. And every religion and every nation teaches peace, and no religion or no nation teaches hate to anyone. So it's humans that has to be that has their roles to counter hate speech for peace and then Islamophobia. Let me move to the next slide. My theoretical discussion, my paper will be justified by different theories: social identity theory, theory of liberty, and moral foundation theory. The communication students must be aware of these theories. Social identity theory is about that every human has their identity in their society, in their culture, in their nation, in their states. So they have their identity and they have their freedom of right to express themselves and to attain the dignity and respect they deserve. So the next is theory of liberty, that every you can say individual has a liberty and to express and publish with no hate and with all moral ethics and religious and cultural ethics related to their laws of the land as well. And then there's a moral foundation theory that is very relevant to my topic, which teaches peace and care and loyalty. And that says that if you want to say something, if you want to publish something, if you want to broadcast something, you have to be with broadcast with ethical care and loyalty and with pure heart, combating evil-minded thoughts and stuff. So then my paper also consists of action plans. What will be the role of various stakeholders? First role is obviously the role of youth, and there is a bulge of youth in worldwide. And obviously the digital media, they are using a lot of digital media. We know that fake news and disinformation has been creating a lot of propaganda against many religions, including Islam. So there is a role of youth to combat and fact check the real what Islam is and counter the fake information present right now in the online platforms. And then there is a role of religious leaders and scholars. Like the religious leaders are going to they're going to their worship places and preaching. So they have their significant role to preach peace in their sermons, in their speeches and addresses. And then there is a role of traditional media that includes TV and that radio and stuff, because this traditional media, when there is any crisis, they actually create panic to their broadcast news and stuff. Rather they have to counter the hate and the incitement and the provokeness which is going on in society against any particular religion. That's the main thing. And there is a role of civil society. It's about the humanitarian organization. They have a very important role in that. If they have their outreach programs, they should go to the communities and they should go to the do different outreach sessions with different women, children, and various other stakeholders and partner with them, and they can do a lot of stuff. Then there is a role of academy and families. The teachers have to prepare kind of curriculum which promotes peace, and the families, the parents have to be, early childhood is very important. You have to teach peace to your children from very early ages, so they should know, go against any religion when they are grown up, and afterward they won't blame anyone. Then how my country, Pakistan, is combating Islamophobia. There is a significant role of Pakistan combating Islamophobia. The Prime Minister Imran Khan has significantly and very clearly written official letter to the leadership of humanity worldwide that please end this fear among the people. Please teach what exactly Islam is. And they have also written to the head of media like Facebook and Twitter to take off the content that's against the Islam. That is not Islam, which is being promoted by various parties and militant groups. That is not Islam. So one should, digital media have a very role, and youth should play a very good role in it. Conclusion: Islam is a religion of peace. Every Muslim knows that. And first of all, I want to conclude that it's not a freedom of speech, but it's racism when an innocent Muslim called as terrorist. It's terrorism when anyone kills any Muslim around the world. It's a defamation when anyone humiliates a Muslim. It's a blasphemy when anyone ridicules Allah Almighty, Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, or anything written in our Holy Book Quran. So it's all about the Islam. But actually, this formula, goes to every human as well. It's a racism when an innocent human called as a terrorist. It's a terrorism when anyone kills any human around the world. It's a defamation when anyone humiliates any human. So, we should respect each other's religion, and we should respect each other as a human. And on humanitarian ground, there are a lot of countries that they're helping each other apart from their policies and rules. So the world is made of a beautiful diversity to live in a harmony. And it's a peace speech when there is no hate in your freedom of speech. So thank you so much. That's from my side.
Thank you, Ms. Sira. I do believe that freedom of peace speech should be defended in every situation, especially by the youth. So thank you once again for reminding us this truth clearly of this panel. Again, thank you so much for your contribution to this panel.
Thank you so much.
Now, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Harold Bergman from Germany, and his topic will be Physics of Law alias, a model of information processing group. So floor is yours, Mr. Harold. You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, thank you, Religions for Peace, and for the IAC-UIF for inviting me here. Yeah, I have some presentation, but need to first allow it to present. The security system here is hard. And I'm not my own administrator.
That's all right.
Oh no, I need to complete Zoom and start again. The other way around would be that you present my, no, where it's possible. I have to start up again, I think, one minute.
That's right. Mr. Harold, I think it is better for us to invite next presenter. And I think while you are trying to find your presentation, I think that would be better if it's okay with you too. So I would like to invite our next speaker while Mr. Harold doing his preparation. Now I would like to give the floor to our next panelist for the session, Mr. John Kennedy Otihambo from Kenya, and his topic will be youth engagement with religion, religious institutions' response to the changing youth dynamics, and how the engagement influences the youth worldview. Mr. John Kennedy, floor is yours, and you have 5 minutes. Mr. John Kennedy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Okay. I'm going to base my arguments on a number of themes. I've interacted with youths before. I've worked with youths. I've prayed with them. I played with the youths before, and that is why. Okay.
Okay, right now we can see you, Mr. Kennedy.
Okay, now I can see all of you. Okay, thank you very much. I've said that I've interacted with youths, prayed with them, and I've worked with them in a number of ways, and that is why I want to present some of those, the ways in which the religious institutions have responded to the youths and how that impacts in peace building and the youth worldview. I wanted to build this discussion on a number of things, that the youth as a stakeholder is not something you can easily wish away, because if it is in political violence, the youths are the major stakeholders. If it is inter-religious violence, the youths are the major stakeholders. If it is about inter-ethnic conflicts, that is a major conflicts in Kenyan communities, the youths are the combatants. If you talk about economic conflicts, the youths, in as much as they are involved in the violence, it is a force that you cannot miss away. And then when you look at one of the major things that I want us to build on is about the perception of religion. Some of those things that have influenced the youth is about the way they are perceived. Some of the presenters have actually adhered to that fact that the youths are perceived as rebellious, they are perceived as incorrigible with some religion, they are perceived to people who cannot complete tasks. Such perception actually interfere with the youths, and there is no way you can start a relationship with them and call upon them to build up on a cause. So the way the church perceives, the way the religion perceives the youth, and the way the youth perceives the religion has a lot of dimension in the life of these young people. The youth still look at the religious institutions are very rigid and very traditional. And especially with this changing environment, this is something that religion got to really consider. I'm actually happy that so many religious organizations are represented here, and I think that we need to revolutionize our perception of the youths because they are very important stakeholders in peace building process. So I think it's an important thing that we put that it's a force that you cannot actually wish away. The second thing that I've built my arguments upon is the challenges of the youths are facing. We have mentioned all of them, like economic challenges, political challenges, loneliness, emotional challenges, and all those things. In the actual sense, the youths are broken. I wonder how the religion wants to turn them into healers or wounded healers. How would you deal with these people who have gone through a lot of economic crisis, the pandemic, and all those isolations? We want to transform that energy into a force that builds peace. In most low-income countries, so many youths are struggling. They don't have jobs, and you expect somebody who is so violent inside, struggling inside, to be a peace ambassador. That is going to be a real challenge. So my paper is built on how do religious institutions support the youth in building their economic power, in addressing their challenges so that they can be transformed from within, because you can't give what you don't have. If you don't have peace inside you, you have struggles, you have pains, you have hurts and wounds, you cannot be able to yield peace to the world. How can we heal the wounds of crisis, the pandemics that the youths are going through, so that we can turn them into true youth ambassadors? Kenya is a great thing. That is why when opportunity comes, like recent looting in South Africa, you find so many youths on the street, because what are they looking for? They actually have a lot of struggles inside, so that they get opportunity, they become sources of disruptions in the society. So I'm looking at it, is it possible that religion can take part in addressing youth challenges so that they can transform them not to violent combatants, but to youth, to peace building agents? And then the third dimension that I wanted to build my arguments upon is the formation and development. The religion has actually played the role in radicalizing the youths. There are some places in the southern coast in Kenya that were actually religious institutions is accused of actually recruiting young people into Al-Shabaab, into those Boko Haram things. Like, I mean, it is a religious institution, in my view, is supposed to be a chance of formation and development for young people. And what do you think the young people take it when the same religion that is supposed to help them to build peace is the same religion that is helping them to radicalize? And then another dimension in the same formation is a formation in a curriculum that has no peace. Most religions don't even have curriculums of peace. I don't even know if, religious institutions are satisfied just to be called institutions of peace, yet there is no framework, there is no model, there is no a curriculum of peace. I haven't had it. We are actually, I'm a part of religious followers, but what they tell you is about what you should do, what you should not do, and those things. Is there a framework of activity, things that are so practical, things that are so transformative, the approach that can help these people to actually realize the value that they have inside them. The next one is the model. The traditional, religious institutions have a model of formation that is so rigid, that is not actually, is not in line with the changing youth energy, the changing youth environments. It is so rigid. It's about, actually, I know in some of the churches in Kenya where we still use rote memory, cramming faiths and doctrine. I don't know how that actually transforms the person into somebody who can actually yield peace and give birth to peace to the world. Then, so I look at the third dimension is culture, how the church institutions respond to the youth changing cultures. Like you talk about globalization, you talk about the social media, you talk about so many things that are changing in the lives of the youth, where the approach of religious institutions has remained so rigid. The youth keep changing, their environment, their culture keep changing. I know of a girl that was chased from the church because she was dressed in a tight cloth, responding to globalization. And this particular girl left this church because according to the elders of the church, she was dressed immodestly. What approach should religious leaders take in approaching such issues of these broken youths who are seeking faith? Instead of chasing them away, they are dealing with a lot of information from global environment. Yet when they come to seek faith and confidence from the church, then they actually judge from the way they dress. A lot of things have changed in the global environment, including the cultures of the people, the dressing styles, social media, and so many things. How does the religious institutions respond to those dynamics, those changes, those information? Because religion is not the only source of information for the youth. The youth get information from all over the world. How can they make their information more superior to the information that the young people are receiving? Then the final dimension that I want to bring forth is about money, the economy, politics, and peace. Youths are vulnerable. There is no religion, don't actually teach them how to get income. Most religions don't do that. So they are.
Sorry for interrupt, but you already exceed your 5 minutes. So if you can have your last sentences, we will be very happy.
Okay, that's the final one. Actually, when you are vulnerable in terms of your income, it is easy to be manipulated by political elites. That is one thing. And this is actually a violence in itself. Most cases in Kenya, the youths have taken part in violence demonstrations in that dimension. My discussion is how can these youths participate more in peace building? That means the religious institution need to support the economic base so that they don't become vulnerable to political or religious entities or being recruited into terrorism and all those other things. The church, the religious institution got to actually empower these people so that they can actually transform the society through peace. The conclusion to my presentation is that actually the church needs and religious institutions need what I will compare to Copernican revolution, a revolution in content, revolution in approach, revolution in perception, and revolution in how they respond to the youth's changing dynamics. And the youth also have to change and turn around in order to see how to respond best to the faith so that they can get the insight to help them build better and to change the world better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for this inspiring presentation and speech. And we benefited from your ideas. And especially I benefited from the part of the revolution part. And I totally agree with you on this subject. And thank you again for your contribution. Now I would like to give the floor to our last panelist. I think everything is okay right now. To Mr. Harold Bergman from Germany. And I would like to read the topic of Mr. Harold once again. So it will be physics of law, alias, a model of information processing group. So floor is yours, Mr. Harold. You have 5 minutes.
Many thanks. Sorry, your recording challenged my security system. Here I like to present what I have prepared. Yeah, I thank again for having the chance. Sorry for shocking you a little, probably by using theoretical physics here. But I need to. So there are two parts that I like to examine. First is groups, second is leadership, and all those structuring the world in a non-linear way. And first we look to groups. And in the symposium I read in the chat, it inspired me, but how? The basics considerations is that benefit is a kind of effect, and intelligence is a way to save energy, negative energy, this way. And for example, if you increased intelligence and invented the wheel, then you clearly save energy, but only if you really carry the weight this way. Therefore, it depends on the time you're carrying the weight. So benefit is this multiplication. And for a dialogue between two persons, this is a cut out of my book, you see some complex formulas, but in the at the bottom you see what the surplus is that communication gives you by stimulation of ideas, by inspiration, and it's an intelligent and time relation, and it's very similar to mass or charge as we can find in physics otherwise. It leads finally to a stability condition for a group. And if you want to be part of the group, you have to fulfill your part as one of the members. The second principle is leadership, that structures, and a basic question is, what is the amount of data a number can carry? This is proportional to the logarithm of the number. And a good example are representatives of a parliament. The relation between the amount of people and the amount of representatives is related by this logarithm function. And it defines another kind of intelligence by structuring. A little more complex, if you continue with that method, is you can provide an uncertainty relation. This is a combination of the grouping and structuring, and it's pretty similar to that what Max Planck did for his radiation law, where the particle property of light has been deduced. Fourth part is the fermionic structuring of the world in case of informal processes. We see here MOSFET construction, and although the informal operation is complementary, it is not constructed equally. And we find these differences of gender even at humans. So males are more, have a bigger body than females, for example. So, and if we combine everything of that, then it matches in the basic properties of religions. So we have previously seen this temperature neck entropy method is logarithm dependent. We have seen the attraction by a kind of group interaction and group volume relation. We have got an uncertainty relation. We have seen that fermions may be intellectually as well operating, and we received light similar bosonic interchange, interaction of people and information in general, really resulting probably to a field. And all those properties are told by religions. And if we at Taoism and Confucianism, because they have 5, 3, 2, and 1 from this category as well, matching, then we match and cover around 99% of all people in the world. And then we go from theory to the practice. What can we learn from that for peace building? Internal instability may result to external expansion. If you have the group building and the structuring, and your group is unstable, then you have a possibility to increase the number of your people simply, at best, by violence. Then you have a more stable system. That could be a reason for war. And the next reason for war could be that a single leader has simply a capacity limit in intellectual possibilities. And therefore, this is not a good structuring method. It is pretty useful for war conditions, so we can see that many of the constitutions nowadays are still war constitutions. And the problem is that it could be that if you prepare war, you can stabilize your own position as leader. Therefore, I asked to have a worldwide self-similar sub and superstructuring as a fractal system. Probably you have recognized that. We have rules and laws. We have identified them as algorithms. And I think one should prepare quality assessments regarding those. Doing this requires asymmetric transparency, most transparency at top and lowest at privacy. So we need to drop anti-spy and betrayal laws. And what you have as well recognized, this is an inside view about stimulation and inspiration, but the real physics is as well existing, and it's an external view. And I recognize as well that there's a problem in judgment, because guilt is an internal property, but you want to judge it by an external view of an external judge that cannot operate. So you cannot really verify the internal guilt. You have to use love, for example, as external property or lack of love. Thanks for this possibility.
Thank you, Mr. Harold. It was very concrete and very strong presentation, and it was indeed very interesting subject. And thank you very much again for your contribution. So this is the time for the Q&A session. We already finished our presentations. And actually, we already gathered 2 questions from the chat box from our audience, but they did not address to these questions to any specific panelist. So I will read these questions to all our panelists. If any of them wants to answer, I will give the floor. And if they don't, actually we keep these questions for the second panel, which we will be also having on peace building issue. So here's the first question. How can we, the youth, work in our local space to promote coexistence? Do you have any suggestions? Is there anyone who wants to give a brief answer or who wants to share their ideas? Maybe let me read this question again. Okay, now I would like to give the floor Ms. Dr. Lilian Sison.
Yes, by Well, usually we have some concrete activities which is being shared by different, or rather by youths coming from different religions. So they have to be engaged in very concrete and practical humanitarian action. So for example, we have an interreligious youth who are doing something for the environment, like mangrove planting in the coastal areas, or cleaning the coastal areas with debris and all that. And these are multi-religious group of students, and they begin to learn how to live with one another in harmony because they have a common goal, and that is the environment. So I think you have to provide space and opportunity for students to express their goals or their aspirations in life, especially if these goals and aspirations are towards the common good. So that's how I think they can live together, by doing something on a shared and common goal, especially for the benefit of humankind.
Thank you, Miss Dr. Lilian. Thank you so much again. I think Miss Emina would like to share the ideas about this question. Floor is yours.
I'll just be very quick. So it's super important to be very immersed within your own context. So to know where you work, because something that might work in Bosnia and Herzegovina might not work somewhere else, because the contexts are different. But what we did in Youth for Peace is that we as young people gathered around the same goal for the sake of youth, and we are youth-led. And what we do, we convey our own example that it's possible to live together, that it's possible to do activities together, that it's possible to understand the other side that is completely unknown to you according to our education system, according to the context that we live in. So we convey our own example, but this is just one of the ways. And as I say, super important to know your own context, because you might even make more harm if you take something and put it in your own context if you are not aware what can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Emina. Mr. Harold?
Yeah, I like to combine that with my presentation. The youth and religion have somehow the problem that someone thinks it is something irrational, what faith and religions tell and do. And that is not, to my opinion. You can show it pretty rational.
Mm-hmm.
And this is important for the youth, because they are, if they study engineering, natural science, for example, it is excluded somehow, and they would have to decide between the material world and the religious world. It's a kind of schizophrenia. So they probably will be selecting only one of both.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Harold. So I think Mr. Kennedy and Ms. Sira, they don't want to share any idea about this question. So I would like to jump on the second question, if you allow me. And let me read the question. How we youth promote a happy and healthy religious environment, especially we girls? Maybe Ms. Hira, please, floor is yours.
In my presentation, I have told about this, the solution of this question is that if you're doing outreach programs, and there are community programs as well. So if you want to, do the program with of girls only, then you have to, gather people around, which in your social network or in your family network and in your community network, and invite them and, address them and to different guests, inviting various experts. And this is how you can, teach peace and tell them, how to say it well in social media. And if anybody says anything bad or hateful about any religion, then how to, counter with very good faith and, with very peaceful mind. So this is my idea.
Thank you, Ms. Sira. Is there anyone who wants to give the contribution for this question? Maybe Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, I want to give a contribution to this.
Of course.
I think most of our religious institutions approach is always the very positive side. We want to talk about the church, religious institutions on a very positive side, and then we forget about the ills, things that are eating us from inside. The only way to create health is to identify and diagnose the problem from within. Rather than play safe, talk about nice things, and think about everything is okay. The youths are going through a lot of troubles, and there is no framework to address and to help them. They are crying like every day, and I have worked with the youth, and I share in their pains and their hearts and their struggles, their misperceptions and everything else. But I think to create a healthy environment within the religious environment and peace to prevail, there is need to get into the stakeholder, the youth and the religious leaders, so that they can actually diagnose the problem in order to develop framework to address and to change the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. And I know that we have lots of things to discuss, but I'm afraid that we already exceed our time. So let me finalize this session. Once again, I would like to thank of our esteemed audience and panelists for being with us today. And I hope this session has been interesting and highly beneficial for you. And again, thank you and thank you.